episode of the Hillside Club. I'm James Martin III, not sitting alongside me, but virtual Rob Cardini. Guys, welcome back to Hillside Club, where there are no hot takes, only real ones. And boy, do we have a good episode for you guys today. It's pretty chilly over the weekend. Right, Rob? Just a little chilly, right? Just a little cold.
Yeah, it got a little chilly. The forecast called for warm weather, but someone had to ice it up really quick.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah. And then, a little playoff basketball, playoff hockey, PGA Championship, and Six God dropped 3 albums. We're going to get into it later on in the episode. Thank you guys for joining us. Let's kick it off with NBA playoffs, man. Game 7, that wasn't much of a Game 7.
Nope.
We were recording this episode. We were going to start recording because the game was a blowout. Like, just kind of insane, I guess, from the Pistons.
Went out sad. It just didn't even look like they had it one bit tonight. One bit.
No.
Just from first quarter, had it for about maybe 6 minutes. And then from there, it was all Cavs. All Cavs. There wasn't an answer for anything that the Cavaliers were doing. I mean, the box score is
I was just about to
ugly.
say. Let's
ugly for the Pistons. I mean,
let's go down this box score here. I'm looking at, first of all, the leading scorer, Dennis Jenkins, with 17, 3, and 5. I believe he comes off the bench.
Well, I think he started tonight, but that a lot of that was garbage time too, because when it was like 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, they were down 30. Duncan Robinson was actually the leading scorer for the Pistons.
Oof. Yeah, Cade, 13 points, 37 minutes. He had a plus minus of negative 32. He's minus 32.
Second half point. He had 12 at the half.
Jalen Duren, 7 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists. They were talking about max this, max that. What did we talk about 3 weeks ago? I said, if they find a way, they're going to find out real soon that this core is not going to be what it needs to be to win. And that's fine. Jalen Duren is maybe not that guy. DeAndre Ayton figured that out after that finals run. Pretty piss poor, pretty gross. And then
I don't even want to talk about Jalen Duren just yet. I gotta address him with another dude that also needs to get addressed in these playoffs. I think I'm gonna just lump them right into the two, because there's been a lot of chatter on social media about the two of them. I'm assuming your next point was gonna be Tobias Harris having 5 points. I think probably his worst game of the playoffs.
Tobias Harris over me. Tobias Harris over me. Jimmy Butler. With an amazing soundbite. Dude, he can't be your third option. Someone said that, Tobias Harris, this is online. Someone said Tobias Harris's, career is, funny to look at, because it's great in a sense, but it's also not great. But it's he's good enough to the point where, you do expect, output out of him, but he's not great enough to the point where, you get on him that much when it's not, up to par. And they're like, I guess that's the perfect career or whatnot. I think that's just a lousy excuse. But, yeah, that...
I don't know. It's tough because he's played a lot of good basketball for them this whole season.
That is true.
He really never... he's been their number 2. He hasn't even been, a third option. He's been their number 2 guy. Yeah, exactly. He wasn't supposed to be. So, he stepped up for them a lot this postseason. The Cavs, Donovan Mitchell, 26, Jared Allen had 23, Evan Mobley, 21. Harden.
No, let's get into that really quickly. What did I send? I sent our group chat a photo earlier in the day. I'll try and show it, but maybe I can show it on the screen. I said incoming. I don't know if you guys can see this, but it says incoming 13 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds. And it's a photo of me because people say I look like Harden without the beard. So I put the beard on. And I'm in a negative 12 or a minus 12 from him. He ended up having a good plus minus, but I don't think that's because of him. You know, he didn't have the 7 turnovers that I said, but Game 7 Harden, elimination game Harden, puts up another stinker, I feel like, in the stat sheet. But we're not going to get on him because they got the job done, and they're going to the ECF.
Yeah.
But
I mean, yeah, you could look at it from the perspective, man, maybe it was just the Cavs playing a really good game. I don't really know if I would say that. I feel like I don't know. It's tough. The Cavs played a really good game, but I feel like it might have been a little bit more about just the Pistons and they didn't have it tonight. And I think I think you're familiar with him, the guy, awful coaching that just absolutely screams into the mic. He's gonna have a field day, with this game, because there were a lot of buckets where Van Gundy was on the broadcast pointing it out, and he was like, I don't know why the Pistons are doing this. Like, the big men aren't stepping up. Oh, this is over pursuit here. Like, what are they doing? And I could just imagine what, awful coaching is about to just absolutely tear into JB Bickerstaff and this performance from the Pistons. But, James, that sets up the Cleveland Cavaliers to take on the New York Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals. Also makes the New York Knicks the home team in these Eastern Conference Finals.
I think that's the biggest factor taking away from this series. Is I not that I wanted to play one team or the other, because I think they both were playing terrible basketball. The Cavs did show me a different gear that I didn't think they had. However, this is, how they say, did the Cavs win or did the Pistons lose? I think it was a little bit of both, because, like you said, the Pistons looked god-awful today. Cavs did look good, but they didn't look, amazing. They got good numbers out of their role guys, and that's what the Knicks have been able to get all playoffs, is good numbers out of their role guys. So we'll see what happens in this series. I think that home court advantage is the biggest thing. However, we all know that Madison Square Garden has some sort of juju in it, where guys come in there and they play lights out. And the playoffs is one thing, the Garden's another. The Mecca, guys come in, you don't even know who's playing. 7th guy off the bench comes in, drops 14 on 8 of 8 shooting, just something crazy. You know how the Garden is. The Mecca is ridiculous.
D-Mitch loves the Garden,
he
man.
He does, man. He's back home.
Loves it.
Back home. Dude, that series starts Tuesday night, I believe. ESPN, we get Mike Green on the call the whole series. 19th. Thank God. I think the Knicks got to come out and punch them in the lip again. However, it's a little different from the Sixers series, where the Knicks, played 6 games, but they had a little bit of rest, whereas the Celtics didn't, or the Sixers didn't have any rest at all, because they had just played the Celtics in 7. The Cavs are going to come off this series. It's a long series, pretty physical series. They're not going to have any rest. However, the Knicks were sitting for a little too long for my liking, which kind of kills momentum, right?
Yeah, that was something that we discussed. I actually I made a video about how it seemed like it was getting too long, and could this actually screw up their momentum? A lot of people had a lot of pushback on that. They were like, basketball, amongst other sports, is a sport where rest, the more you can get, the better, and momentum isn't going to die. Like, your shooting's not going to screw up. Like, they're going to keep practicing if they, as much rest as possible. To me, it's like, if you're in a groove, you're in a groove. Like, it doesn't matter the sport. Like, if you're in a groove, you're in a groove. You want to stay in that groove. Yeah, sure. You obviously want to get rest, but they haven't played basketball in a long time. With that being said, at the same time, Eastern Conference Finals on your home court, you gotta be locked in. You gotta be ready to go on Tuesday night, man. There's just no excuse. Even if, guess what? Even because they were shooting at an insane clip the past couple of games. Even if the shooting is not that locked in, the effort and energy better be locked in. OG is, I think, scheduled to be back. There should not be any reason why the Cavaliers should out-hustle the Knicks, play better defense than the Knicks in this game. If the shooting isn't there for the Knicks in game 1, I can live with that. But if you get out-hustled on your home court after not playing basketball for, almost 2 weeks? Come on, that's pathetic.
That's why I said they got to come out, punch them right in the mouth. It's that simple. Yep. I mean, the Knicks play. Their 7-game win streak that they are on right now is impeccable. The way they've been playing, like I said, everyone down to the 16th man on the bench is playing out of their mind, heart-wise. Right, shooting They had an amazing performance versus the Sixers in Game 4. That's great. Shots don't drop from time to time, like Rob's saying. Hopefully, they are playing at the same level of intensity and even better than the Cavs are. And it's that simple. I think Mike Brown has actually done a great job, contradictory from where I was a few weeks ago, but he has done a great job of kind of changing the offense and then getting the guys to really, I guess, build this momentum with their energy. And it's been great. I mean, I guess we can shift over to the West Coast now, where I think is the series of the year. We're going to watch games of the year. Every game they played this year was ridiculous. And there's a little bit of hate from Wemby. Him and Chet, he's not fond of Chet. He's a competitor, and that's, I think, why Wemby will be the face of the league, is because he is such a competitor. And I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen in the series. I don't think the regular season tells us enough of what's going to happen in the playoffs, because, like we saw tonight, experience is what's going to do it. And the Thunder have that experience. However, I don't know if experience matters when you have a freak like Wemby out there 7-5 and does it all. So we'll see, man. They had their number all season. I have no idea what's gonna happen in this series. I would like to say it goes 7. What if a team steals a home game or steals an away game?
Yeah,
I think it's got to start with Wemby and end with Wemby, and on the other side, it's the same thing with Shea. I know they get J-Dub back, so
MVP Shea now just got announced today. He just won his back-to-back MVPs, 14th player ever to do so. I also think I feel like I heard a stat that he's only the second guard to win back-to-back MVPs, or multiple. Something like some crazy stat that him and Curry, I think, are the only two to win back-to-back as a guard. I could be wrong on
Steve
that.
Nash as well. Steve Nash,
who
stole, or I don't know if it's back-to-back. Yeah, maybe back-to-back. Yeah, stole from Kobe.
Yeah,
so
it probably was just someone misquoting, but
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, Shea MVP. I feel like everybody kind of like feels a certain way about his play style, Thunder's play style as a whole. Is Shea even the most valuable player in the league? From a sense of like the Thunder are stacked anyway. They win games without him, which we see that happen left and right. But going back to this series, it's gonna be a good one, man. I think. Well, I guess we're gonna have to see what that Thunder whistle is gonna be like too, and how the refs call this series. I mean, the Thunder are favored in the series, but I feel like a lot of people are siding with the Spurs on this one, and just kind of, again, you talk about momentum. Like, the Spurs have momentum and got a little bit of rest before playing this series because of the other series going 7, and then the way they start the next series. But like, obviously the Thunder have a little bit more rest. They swept the Lakers, but I don't know. It just feels like the Spurs are playing with some real mojo right now. They got guys firing on all cylinders. I mean, they got so many guys who can beat you. And I think you said, starts with Wemby, ends with Wemby. He's just a freak. I think him losing this MVP just gives him even more, fuel to go out and beat them. And this really could be an all-time series. I said that this could be, this is the NBA rivalry of the future. And this is a playoff matchup that we could see for the next 10 years. And I don't think anybody would be surprised. Like, you're going to say, it makes sense. They're meeting in the Western Conference Finals again. Oh, maybe one year then it's a semifinals. It's like, here they go. They meet again. Like, we could be like witnessing the start of a great, great rivalry in NBA history, this coming week. So above all else, I really just want to like soak in and appreciate the basketball that we're going to see in this series, because again, even though the Thunder and their play style and the whistle, it can get annoying at times, no doubt. Like, these are two really, really good basketball teams, and it doesn't come around often that you see even that they already have hate for each other. So really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean that game they had during the NBA Cup earlier this year in the semifinal was ridiculous. Wemby was coming back from injury. He pushed himself back from injury to play the Thunder. Like, that's how passionate he is about beating them. He's different.
Crazy.
We got to move into, not move fully into, but we got to talk about Julius Randle. Or as D. Titty would say, JR, Julius Randle just running. Just running cardio out there. I mean, look at his last 5 games, right? In that series. 12 points in game 2, 12 points in game 3, 12 points in game 4, 17 points in game 5, and then 3 points in game 6. This is why the Knicks got rid of Julius Randle. I argue sometimes with Knicks fans about why they got rid of him. This right here is why. Not only will, he's a kind of a playoff slumper, but there's like his attitude. Naz Reid spoke about it in his, post-game presser, his end-of-season presser. He said that the team has got to stop, I guess, with the mood swings, because it's not good for the team, and everyone knows who he's talking about. Like it's no secret, but who wants to be on the court with a guy who his attitude, if he's not producing, his attitude is through the roof, and it's not something that people want to be around. I don't know, man. It's just the playoff slump, and then just not being a team guy. And love Julius Randle. Once a Knick, always a Knick. But the Knicks won this trade. You asked me that 2 months ago, 3 months ago. I don't know how I'm answering it, but I mean, Dante DiVincenzo, torn Achilles. Julius Randle might be on his way out. The news out of Minnesota is that they're going to be moving on from this core. They're going to try and, shape the core around Nas, Jaden McDaniels, and Ant, leaving Randle and Gobert maybe out to dry. Who knows? But, yeah, the Knicks won that trade, man. At first, I didn't know how I felt about it. Cat might be a Knick longer than I expected. This just, if I'm a Minnesota Timberwolves fan, I'm looking at this, and I'm disgusted. But as the Julius Randle experiences, as Knicks fans like to say, like it's not enjoyable when he's not producing. But every now and then he'll go for 30. He'll go for 30 and 10. He's a double machine. It's great. Like, he's a great player, but there's certain things you need on a playoff team and a contending team, and he's got a few traits I feel like that a lot of people say feel aren't fit for that type of basketball.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I've never been a Julius Randle guy. Like, I mean, he kind of helped, he was part of that Knicks, overall comeback, and I respect him for that. Yeah. And he's obviously a good NBA player, but just not my, cup of tea. And even like the other games, like obviously game 6 was a complete disaster. 3 points. The other games, like the points are almost just misleading. It doesn't feel like they're, impactful and effective. And you just like look at his like true shooting percentage over, his past playoff runs, seems to always be in the red. It's just, I don't know. It's just it's almost like, I don't want to say terrible, because it's not like terrible. Game 6 was terrible, but it's just like sometimes you watch him, and then when he gets to forcing buckets, and you can see that he's trying to get himself going, and he wants the offense to start running through him. It's so bad. And then this is what I was saying earlier about Jalen Duren, that I wanted to wait. It's like these two guys right here. Oh my Lord. Like, if you're a Pistons fan, if you're a Timberwolves fan, you're a Ant fan, you're a Cade fan, like, you probably want to literally strangle these two guys, because you got Ant doing whatever he can, coming back from injury, dropping 30 points. You got Cade doing whatever he can, while these two guys are just running up and down the court, practically taking up space. And they both played terrible in these semifinals. And I mean, like you said, it almost seems for certain that the Timberwolves are going to move off of Randle. I don't think the Pistons will move off of Duren, but damn, is this going to hurt his contract? Like, I don't know. Both of them just completely sold. So, yeah, that's all I got with that.
Yeah. Again, guys, shout out B Titty. Julius Randle just running, Jalen Duren just dancing, both getting in a lot of cardio. It was what it seemed like over the past week or so. Yeah, man. At the NBA playoffs, SGA MVP, and then we'll move into, I guess, the PGA Championship.
Aaron Rai wins his first ever major and becomes the first player born from England to win the PGA Championship in 107 years. Truly an
Unreal.
incredible win for him. And, heard a couple quotes from other golfers today. I think Rory said, there's not going to be a guy out there who isn't happy for him. Xander Schauffele said he's probably the hardest working guy on tour. So, really cool win for Aaron Rai, a guy who's been a really good golfer for a long time, very consistent golfer, and, hasn't really gotten that one big win, but he got it today. And, coming into today, James, it was kind of like everybody thought we were going to see some big shootout where I think the PGA, the PGA I think posted a stat at the end of Saturday's round that this was the most golfers. 22 were within 4 shots of the lead heading into Sunday. So it kind of set up for this dramatic finish of, hey, could we get a multiple person playoff and this whole ordeal? But Aaron Rai just shut that down. Down the stretch, he pulled away from everybody else and he capped it off with a 68-foot putt on the par 3 17th, which just absolutely iced the tournament, popped the top off the crowd. It was an insane putt. I mean, when he hit the shot to where he did off the tee, one of the announcers said it's going to be a really difficult 2-putt from there. Yeah. And then he holds the birdie putt. It was, dude, I don't know, incredible win for him.
For me, I was at the Met Yankee game, Subway Series, and I'm watching, I had it on my phone. I looked away for 2 seconds because the game had gotten good, right? And I think it had just ended. Looked away and he was up 2 shots, and I looked back and then I saw the tweets about the putt and I was like, no way I missed it. I went back and looked at it. I mean, the crowd erupted. That was sick. Like those types of moments in golf, it kind of made me think back to JJ Spawn last year, US Open at Oakmont, when he drilled that putt. Crowd goes crazy, but you love to see those types of stories, especially Aaron Rai. I actually saw something about everyone hates iron covers, and he uses them, right? And I guess his story has a humble beginning, but it was about basically, his family's working class, and he was taught to take care of your clubs and your equipment. And he said his dad used to clean every single groove of those clubs up and down. So it's sick to see guys like that go out there and win. And just like Rory said, just like those guys said, that there's not a single guy on tour who won't be happy for him. So I'm upset I missed that putt, but I love majors, man. There's nothing like it.
Yeah, no, I think you hit the nail on the head with the analogy to JJ Spawn. It's kind of like one of those putts where you're just kind of like, let's see if we can get a 2-putt. I think Aaron Rai said himself, he was just like the top of the shadow of the flag stick was kind of his aiming point. If he could just get it to there, probably trickles down near the hole, get a 2-putt, make it out of the hole with a par, head to 18, handle your business there, and he just absolutely sunk it. And yeah, you brought up that point about, the iron covers. Same thing goes with the gloves. I guess, a lot of people aren't fans of the 2 gloves, especially them being black gloves. They stick out even more than a traditional golf glove. And I guess that's also because, the cold winters in England and playing a lot of cold weather golf, he just got so comfortable wearing 2 gloves that, he stuck with it. So honestly, you got to give him credit for that, because, a lot of people, they probably would make it to the tour and now they don't have to deal with the cold weather, and they'd probably switch over to 1 glove, kind of look like everybody else, but he stuck true to his roots. And so shout out Aaron Rai for a big win, first ever major. I can only imagine how good he's feeling right now. But only other thing I wanted to talk about the PGA Championship was this coming into this week, there was so much chatter about how the PGA Championship has no identity. The PGA Championship is always the easiest major. The PGA Championship, this and that. I mean, my Lord, they said, screw you guys, man.
Dude, I mean, you're expecting the biggest names to be up there. John Rahm was up there. Allberg was up there. Justin Thomas. But, the course just took some of these guys apart. We don't even Bryson DeChambeau. We could speak about him at some point, but PGA heard the noise and they took it personally. I mean, it felt like the course was built on some sort of animosity or hatred to the media. Like that's how it felt. Like I'm watching these putts. I clips from earlier in the week with, influencers, and they're tapping the ball. It's almost like the Oakmont Rough last year.
Mm-hmm.
The greens were moving. It's kind of like a similar experience we had last week at Stanwich Golf Club.
Chill, bro. Chill.
My goodness.
I mean, honestly, I'm kind of happy they did that because of all the noise, and they kind of responded. Some of the pin placements were just crazy. I think
man.
There was a pin placement today that was only 3 paces off one side of the green, which is like absolutely insane. It's like, how do you even? It really makes you like really pick and choose what holes you're gonna attack. But I know I said that was the last thing I was gonna bring up about the PGA Championship, but last week we both picked Scotty to win, and honestly, I would have picked him again if I could run it back. I saw a tweet that said he missed 10 putts within 6 feet this week, which is just brutal, man. He just, like you said, if we got average putting from Scotty, and obviously we're talking about tour average here,
not his average.
Exactly. Talking about professional, golfers average. You said if we get average putting from Scotty, he's gonna win. We didn't get average putting.
Not at all.
He just. I don't know what it is. He just cannot. When that putter is not hot, it is not hot, and it is ice cold. Some may say, but that little natural transition there into what is, just truly amazing over the past weekend. We got ICEMAN, and we got 2 more albums along with it. You see me rocking the OVO, man. The GOAT, Drake, dropped again. A lot to talk about with these 3 albums. James, I'll let you start off, though.
So, I was texting my family earlier about this album because we all support Drake in the fam. We all do. But I had to lay it out for them, right? Because, I was talking to a few coworkers the other day that didn't get to listen to the album. I actually stayed up. Believe it or not, I stayed up. I didn't start with ICEMAN because, you watched the live stream. I saw the live stream. I figured that was ICEMAN. I feel like that sounded like that was ICEMAN, right? I heard like 3 or 4 leaks that I'd heard throughout the weeks leading up to the album drop. And then, I was like, let me throw on one of these other 2. Habibity, and then it's Maid of Honor, right? I threw on Maid of Honor or Habibity first. What a listen. Nighttime. Oh my goodness. So I divided the albums. This is how I just divided it myself. I said that, all right, Habibity is for the guys in a sense, right? It's Drake is on there. He's in his feels. There's a few love songs on there. He says he's close to, finding true love, a few songs like that. And I was like, that's for the guys. It's for, your feels. If you have a soul, at least, some people don't have a soul and they don't get to feel that type of music. And that's another conversation in itself. And I said Maid of Honor is kind of for the girls, but like club music, a little reggae, a little Brazilian funk, a little bit of everything. But those are the bops. Those are the songs that are going to go viral, maybe on TikTok, dance songs, there's house music, fire. And then you got ICEMAN. ICEMAN, I'm going to get on this a little later on in the pod, but the ICEMAN is mainstream music, I think, made for people who only like music when they're told to like music, right? Like, that album's like, if you like rap, stick to that. If you can't get outside of rap or if you can't get outside of mainstream music, leave it at that. But Drake, he did his thing, man. He did his thing with that album. When he took the 3 hard drives out the bag, oh my! I mean, we texted each other immediately. Like, I could not believe it.
To me, it's also like people say, obviously, there's some speculation about did he just drop 3 albums just to get out of the deal? I don't think he did it just to get out of. I don't think it was just to get out of his deal. I think it's also because he has the ability to drop 3 albums at any given time. Like that is how versatile and talented he is as an artist, that he can have 3 different vibes on 3 different albums and drop them all at one time. I also think Drake is a guy that is just obsessed with his craft, and he loves making music for his fans, where a lot of guys, disappear for 5 years before they drop another project. And some people may say that's the better way to go about things. I don't really know. If you're talented, you're talented. I think Drake just, loves, constantly dropping more music for his fans. To me, it was just like, I don't know. Like you said, Iceman is that true rap album.
Yeah.
I think Iceman is probably the best rapping we've seen from Drake in a long time. Like from a complete album, like start to finish on an album. I don't think we've seen rapping like this from Drake in a long time, man. The rapping on Iceman was
Dude.
it really hit.
Some of those
I listened
songs.
to
I like the
classics.
Make Them like series of songs. Like, it's like 4 of them. I think it's Make Them Cry, Make Them Pay. There's Make Them Remember, and then Make Them Know. Yeah. Wow, he was talking his stuff. And I watched the Zeus and the B. Lou clip a little while ago, or like a few clips of them reacting, and it's like every other song, every other like lyric is some double entendre where he's just in his bag, like the Rick Ross bar, where Aiden Ross. I was aiding Ross with streams before Aiden Ross. He was in his bag, man. He's in his bag.
No,
He's in his bag.
That's what I'm saying. He really locked in on like if you said, if you just want to hear rap, like, and you're gonna just judge Iceman just for the rapping, like, it's one of the best performances he's put on in a long time, in my opinion. The other albums are just as good too.
They're great. They're great.
If you can just take them for what they are, and I've been bumping them like crazy. I think so. It's dropped Friday. We're recording here now, Sunday night. I think I've listened to each album start to finish over 5 times now. I know that might sound
ridiculous.
So crazy.
That's not ridiculous at all.
I've been going crazy, just really trying to listen, and they just get better with every single listen. And I saw a TikTok of someone actually saying that like people are giving these albums reviews, but the reality is you're not really giving the album a review. You're giving it a first impression. These people come on the internet, they start talking all that talk. Even people who like actually listen to the whole thing live and then give the review of it, you're not really giving it a review because it's just your first impression. A review takes time, a review takes effort, a review takes research, comparison to past music, current, industry trends, all this different stuff. That's a review. You can't review an album off of one listen. That's just a first impression. But it's nothing new because when it comes to Drake, it's never good enough. It's always criticism, and that's why he posted, the Take Care stuff where people were criticizing Take Care right away, and now that's regarded as probably his best album, consensus.
I agree, man. First of all, like I had someone tell me the morning after the album dropped, mind you, he dropped, what is it, 43? How many songs is it?
Oof, that's a good question.
I think it's around 40 plus, right? 42, 43, whatever it is. That about 2.5 hours of music. I know he didn't listen to all the music, but I had someone tell me, only Iceman was good. The other 2 weren't good. You didn't listen to the albums. And first of all, like you said, it's a first impression. How can you say it's not good? I don't listen to rock music, right? Not everything is for me. I don't love it, but not everything is for me. I'm not going to say an album is garbage because it's not for me. That's not good. Just because you didn't like the house or the reggaeton or the reggae or the Brazilian funk or any of those club beats doesn't mean the album wasn't good. And just because you don't like R&B music doesn't mean it wasn't good. That's one thing I think we need to, understand. And then for people to say, oh, it wasn't good, not even 24 hours after listening to it, I think that's just blatant hate. That's what it is. It's blatant hate. People, they don't want to give it a chance, right? Like, they don't even want to hear. They don't want to listen. Like, I saw a TikTok 15 minutes after it was posted. Maybe it was rage bait. But oh, all 3 albums suck. Come on, what are we doing?
It's just stupidity.
It really
is. It's just stupidity. And also, you gotta another thing too. It's when the live stream was everybody was so amped up, and then he plays the album that's most rap. And I think that got everybody so hype. But then the reality is there was about a 45-minute break until the rest of the albums were dropping. And obviously it's late at night and Maid of Honor drops. It's that's not an album. And for people who maybe stayed up and they're tired, or, you wake up the next day and you throw the new Drake album on. Maid of Honor is not an album that you're just going to, play at any given time. It's got a certain vibe to it. You want to hear it probably at a pregame when you're at a club, the girls are going to love it at the club. That's the kind of vibe it has. That's why Gordo produced a lot of the songs on that album. It's it's how could you have judged it at 8 a.m. on Friday morning? There's just no possible way. So, and it's so ironic to me because I actually commented this on somebody's TikTok. It's so ironic to me because in an era where house music and EDM has become so popular, you're hearing these same styles of beats with Drake vocals on them, but it's still not good enough because it's Drake. It's just this is what I mean. It's always with him, it's never enough, it's never right. It's always got to be, a different set of standard. Perfect example, right? The Ran to Atlanta music video. If you watch the music video, I saw someone point this out on Twitter, where Drake is the only one where there's what's the word? He doesn't have a heat signature when they do like the thermals. Everybody else has a heat signature except for Drake because he's Iceman. If anybody else did that, and specifically someone else that we're all thinking of here, did that in a music video, oh, he's a genius. Oh, give him the Grammy. Oh, this, that. Because it's Drake, it's whatever. It's Drake being corny, probably. It's just the double standards with him are so real, and it sucks because people are just not appreciating, the greatest artists of our generation, and I truly feel bad for them. They live a miserable life. There's no two ways around it.
I saw something just like that, and it was, I guess Drake referenced some girl from 20 years ago, which for some reason, because it's Drake, you're not allowed to speak about your past. 20 years ago, Drake was 18, 19, 20. Like, those are core memories in your life. Like, those are memories our parents probably talk about when they're 18, 19, 20 a lot. That's like some of the first vivid memories you get because you're an adult for the first time, right? Mm-hmm. And in the comments, like, everyone's like, yeah, Drake's so corny, bringing up, a girl from 20 years ago. And it's like, so now he's not allowed to talk about his past. Like, that's what music is. People talking about their past experiences and what made them who they are today, right? But because it's Drake, it's corny, right? I see the double standards fully, and it is worrisome, but at the same time, wish I could get into my not about it right now. We're gonna save it.
Yeah,
we're gonna
I know
save
what you mean.
it.
It's like, yeah, like you said, he's grown up, but like he doesn't, forget about the past. He can still talk about the past. People are always like, oh, where's the old Drake? This, that. It's like people change. You have to adapt your style. You can't just run the same style into the ground. Otherwise, you'll never make it as an artist. So, Drake has switched up, but for whatever reason, he's the only artist where, if you don't hear the same thing over and over, people just complain left and right. I got a question for you, though, because I was thinking about this.
Yeah.
Do you think that Drake gets this same amount of hate and backlash to when he drops music in other countries? Because obviously we know Drake is global. He has fans all over the world. Do you think that, like, in the UK, obviously you can't really bring up Canada because when he drops, I'm sure every single person loves it there. He runs that country basically. But like UK, even, he says he's big in Japan, like even Australia, like he can go anywhere. He's got fans. Like, do you think this is just like an American thing that he receives all this corny backlash?
Yes. I'll say this. For starters, there's the culture in America right now. Everyone's always waiting to jump on someone's back and flame them or cancel them, whatever it is. It's hostile right now, online, everywhere. So that's the main thing. And then two, I think they're just not that in tune with American culture. Like, yes, to a certain extent, and I'm sure there are people out there that are in tune and know everything that's going on, but I'm saying for the vast majority that they don't know what's really going on behind the closed doors or behind, the pop culture in the U.S. with, West Coast rap, Kendrick or OVO, and what, the issues with Atlanta rap. They don't know what's going on. We do because, we grew up listening to these guys. We see posts from World Star Rap, whatever it is, and we know what's going on. So we understand when they make a diss at, when he makes a diss at Rick Ross or he makes a diss at DJ Khaled or LeBron, we know because they don't watch basketball like we do. I mean, when he makes a bar like, what's going on with 23andMe, I'm a real guy or something like that, and, he switches teams and all that he said, they probably don't pick up on that immediately. I will say, but Drake's music, yeah, just off of cadence and flow and his rhythmic abilities go viral, and those songs hit overseas. You guys got to give that a little bit of time, and I don't think he gets that sort of criticism because they're already hits by the time they get there, right? Like, I feel like in terms of culture or hip hop and pop culture, the U.S. kind of paves the way, and other countries follow. And once a song goes, like, I promise you, Janice STFU will be a top 5 song all summer, right? I bet you give it a month from now in London and in Barcelona, in Paris, and in Berlin, all these places, that's going to be a song played in a club and they're going to love it. And they don't know, what he's really talking about. He's talking about a lady from apparently Universal Music Group on the song. Like, that's the whole point of like that song. So they don't understand that stuff. So I do, like, I see that point, and like the hate is just solely in America. Like, what you saw it, Kendrick Lamar, everyone hopped on it. I mean, the song itself, not like us, it was a banger until it was played too much. But like, people just hopped on the Drake hate wagon. Like, it was unreal. And he had guys that he put on, rappers that he put on, not, say anything to have his back. And it was weird. It was a really weird time last year. And then he showed him with this album. He's him, which is why he titled those albums Habibity, Iceman, and Maid of Honor. Him.
Yeah, that's
about it.
That's not a coincidence.
Not a coincidence at all.
He thinks about every little detail, so that's not a coincidence. But yeah, like you said, it's just such forced, corny hate over here in America. Yeah. But
I got
any early favorite songs?
I was just about to ask the same thing. Yeah, I'll give you my top 3 most listened to, I'll say right now. Honestly, might need to go take a quick look. No, I think I got my number 1 right now is White Bone. I told you, R&B Drake, I think is the best Drake. I know some people are like, oh, I like when Drake talks that talk. No. When Drake is in his bag, his heart's broken, and he lays down like the line of where he is at life right now.
Yeah.
Nothing like it. So I got White Bone, number 1 for me. I do really like Janice. I do like that. That's probably my number 2. And then number 3, it's got to be from Maid of Honor. It's either like Road Trips or Q&A. Stuck. They're all of them. They're all so good. That album there, I can hear it now. We're gonna be out in summer. The album's gonna be on.
I can't wait.
It was like last summer when or what was the song that was viral? Nokia was on. Or Rich Baby Daddy, all that stuff, man. Give me your top 3.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if I could give you like a top. I mean, in no order. I mean, like, I would definitely like take Road Trips off of the Maid of Honor album. That's fire. The ending of that song is
so good.
It's so good. And then I would probably say, I don't know. I've been loving Ran to Atlanta. I know like some people are just saying like when you go into like the Drake Future catalog, that one's not as good as other. I don't know. Just something about that song, like them reuniting. I love that. Too Hard for the Radio I've been bumping out like nonstop too,
bro. And
it's just
West Coast beat, and he's trying to show Kendrick out. Oh my goodness,
doing his thing, man.
When that beat switches,
Fort Worth, I've been bumping too. Like you said, R&B Drake, like he got in his bag, and then classic, classics. I got beef with Drake on this one. Why did he switch the beat on that?
I was gonna ask that question.
He went crazy with the beat switches this album. Yeah. That's one where we didn't need a beat switch, and then give us a second verse. It was so good. Like, listen, he rightfully named that song classic, but it could have been even more of a classic if he doesn't switch the beat up on that one and keeps rapping. And then now that I just saw it, the Her Not There, like that could have been a classic if we just kept Sexy Red off. I don't know. That's his girl. God. That's his girl. I don't know. Like, I guess, she's a real one to Drake, but man, that he was spitting on. He was talking about Baby M again on that song, and it's just like
Baby M's got Drake wrapped around her finger. I was gonna ask.
She clapped back at him.
I didn't see.
Yeah, because he said he had a bar that said Dubai doesn't need another Pilates studio.
Yeah.
So she posted something about Dubai's like favorite Pilates studio, something like that. And the song she used was Rihanna Needed Me. So she really clapped back at him. But it's kind of funny because I guess not too long ago she posted a video of when Drake's like smelling his fragrance, where he's like, whoa, or something like that, and that's captioned like, when I hear the first beat off of Iceman. So she heard the chirp and then got mad, but
Yeah,
maybe going back
I was
and
gonna
forth
ask
at each
probably
other,
our
man.
last point about Iceman, but the beat switches. I know a lot of people hate him. I will say sometimes it is a little excessive, but I
Yeah.
understand why he does it. He's got all these fire beats and he's got all these fire flows, and he wants to combine them. And he can't just make 60, 70 songs. He gave us 40 plus. I know sometimes it gets annoying. I know Travis Scott does a really good job with beat switches, but sometimes it is excessive. That's my one
Yeah.
critique.
Yeah, I think honestly, um, maybe this could be a reach when it comes to beat switches, but I think these artists are realizing that the attention span of like just a younger audience now and just people in general is shortening and shortening by the day.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that the beat switches are kind of maybe to keep people intrigued in that song, but that could be a reach without a doubt. Maybe like some artists, because I think about those like the Make Them series where there are beat switches in those songs, but they're a little more subtle, or when a guy's just rapping over the same beat for 5 minutes in song, like you don't really see that as much in today's music, and like people don't listen to that as much today. So I think the beat switches are kind of to keep people
Yeah.
in check almost, and just keep them adjusted. But staying on the ice, I did want to touch quickly
On a roll with
with
the transitions
yeah,
today.
I mean they're just coming naturally today. But I did want to talk about the NHL quickly. I feel like the NBA kind of has taken, a lot of hype right now with what's been going on in it, and NHL still, doing its thing. The playoffs have still been great, but my main thing with the NHL is that I watched the Colorado Avalanche, and I just feel like they're playing a different game than anybody else they play. And that's not to say that they're unbeatable. It's just that when I watch the Avalanche, and I'm a Penguins fan, so it's not like I'm an Avalanche fan, but it's like you never feel like they're out of it. Even the other night, they were down 3-0 to the Wild, and obviously, yeah, it's easy to say now that they came back, but watching that game, how fast they skate, how many chances they generate, it's like, does a 3-goal lead even mean anything to this team? Like, well, I should say a deficit. It's like no, they come back with ease. They are truly playing a different game than anybody else right now, it seems. I don't know if Vegas is going to have enough to take them down. It should be another fantastic series, but it's just like you watch them and it's like they've been doing this for the past 5 years. It's like how have they not won the cup every single year? I
That
don't
was
know.
my
I don't
gonna.
know if it's
That,
goaltending, but it's truly incredible. And Nathan McKinnon, I know like people obviously recognize him as one of the best players in the league. That shot the other night was absurd.
Dude, yeah, I saw that. I was gonna say my question was like, what do you think it is that hasn't taken them to the promised land? But it does look like they're playing hockey at a 2 times speed, like almost
Literally,
like
literally.
because like I don't know. I again like me in playoff hockey. It's probably like my most fond memories of hockey is playoff hockey. Like, dude, their I guess efficiency. Just I don't know. They just play so fast, right? I'm looking at these highlights and it's like. I saw them down in that game. I looked back; they're up later in the night. I didn't understand that, but yeah, we'll see what happens with Vegas. I'm pretty sure they are ranked against amongst the better defensive teams in the playoffs at the moment.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it'll be interesting for
yeah.
sure. And then in
So
the East, we'll get. So we're recording again Sunday night. Monday night is Game 7, Sabres versus Canadians. That's been another
yeah,
fantastic series. Goals coming from literally everywhere. I mean, well, I think it was like, I mean, there was 3-2. I don't, just so I can't even remember the scores of the games after certain periods, but every time I feel like I check Sabres Canadian score, whether I'm flipping the channel or checking my phone if I'm out, there's like one team automatically has 2 goals off rip. It's truly crazy what they're doing. So that'll be Game 7. Carolina still waiting for the winner of that series. I don't know. At this point, I feel like it almost might be too much rest and you kind of get out of a groove. Maybe not. Maybe they just come out with so much energy because if the Canadians win Game 7, that's back-to-back series that have gone 7 games. So you got to start worrying about, battle of attrition, for them there. But nonetheless, NHL playoffs
yeah. I
still
got
doing their thing.
one question for you.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, actually, maybe two. If you had to
All right.
pick who you think is gonna, come out on top, right? Let's say you had to make one pick, Stanley Cup. Who are you going with?
I would have to go with the Avalanche.
Yeah.
I just think it has to be. I mean, just based off what we've seen, I like I mean, the one game they've lost so far was they were up 2-0, go on the road to Minnesota, and Minnesota needed to have that game. So you knew where they were going to bring the most effort, you know, imaginable. And then I don't know. Yeah, I think it has to be Colorado.
Okay. And then my second one was, all right, if the playoffs were scripted, and the match and the league wanted a certain matchup, right, secretly, what would you want that matchup to be?
Out of the teams remaining?
Yeah.
That's tough. I think again, I think you have to put Colorado in there just because,
of course,
of how they're they're an appealing team to watch too. Like you said, it's like they're on 2 times speed. They score a lot of goals, fun to watch. I think it could be a coin flip between Carolina and the Canadians. Carolina, it's like they've been, trying to get over the hump for the past 5 years now where they've had really good teams, but they can't just find a way to get it done. So you could say Carolina in that sense. But you'd also say the Canadians because you want a Canadian team in there. Can a Canadian team finally lift the cup again? This Canadians team is very good. They're also very fun to watch. So, but if I really had to choose, I would lean Canadians just because they're a Canadian hockey team.
All right, that's valid. That's valid. Clubhouse call out.
Clubhouse call out. Yeah, we got a little special. I guess what would be a clubhouse call in, but
yeah,
we could get into it ties into our MLB Quick Hits segment. My quick hit of the week, like I said, try to keep this quick for you guys before we get into the clubhouse call in, but it's just the Tampa Bay Rays as a whole, just playing baseball the right way and the old school way and the way it's just meant to be played. I think I saw a stat that they're top 5 in steals. They're like the number 1 team in bunts. They're the number 1 team in strikeout percentage in a good way. They don't strike out a lot. And it's like they just do this where it's like if it's not every year, it's like every other year they get these teams together of guys that maybe were misfits on other teams in the farm system. It's like, where are they getting these guys? And then suddenly they're one of the best teams in the MLB and they do things the right way. And it's maybe not even the most fun baseball to watch, but it equates to wins. And I think about the Toronto Blue Jays last year and how they didn't strike out a lot. They hit well with, guys, in scoring position, hit well with 2 outs, just, and look where that got them. That got them pretty much if they had 1 hit in the World Series, and I think it was like, in that game, they maybe win the World Series last year, and they play with a very similar style. So I guess a question for you would be, do you think that style, as good as it seems to be to get teams, far, can it get over the hump of beating, a Dodgers, like a powerhouse team like them?
I think it has to be a hybrid. Hey, small ball, it still works if it's executed the right way, right? Like it does. Getting the ball in play, not taking bad at bats. I mean, also forcing teams to play uncomfortable baseball because you're fast on the bags. Like, it's the little things, right? But at the same time, you need, power. You need power and you need those stars. And that's kind of what the Dodgers have, right? They've found the recipe. It's like you need a great mix of small ball, solid pitching, and they've got the stars. I mean, I don't know if the Rays can continue. I don't know if this is sustainable, but with the way they're playing right now, it looks like, I mean, they are top of the AL East right now. They look great. They look great. And then, I mean, sometimes I watch the way they play and I wish the Yankees would play that way, but that's a whole nother thing.
I don't think we'll ever, I don't think we will ever see that from the Yankees. But.
Well, yeah, no, like you kind of said, like there's no wasted outs, no wasted movement. Guys are in scoring position. They execute, and that's the type of baseball that's gonna win games and make a season, memorable. And I don't know if you can get it done in October because there's different factors. The stars come out, temperatures drop, a lot of different factors. They're a southern team. I don't know, but I think if you find a healthy mix of stars and, I guess, the way the Rays play, you find yourself in the World Series. I guess we got to move into our Clubhouse call-in. New segment, our, I guess, Clubhouse call-in. We've had one call-in before, but that was our UConn specialist, right?
Yes,
this
sir.
time, we're going to have our Mets specialist in our special Subway Series call-in segment. Jacob, welcome to the Hillside Club. We appreciate you coming on here. We both just watched a crazy Subway Series wrap up, and you had some comments about how this is, big for the season for the Mets. Like this is a series changing or season changing series for the Mets, right? To beat the Yankees, who Rob, on the other hand, thinks this is not the roster to get it done, not even in the slightest. So, first of all, Jacob, thanks for coming on. What are your thoughts? Walk-off win, top or bottom of the 10th.
Well, I appreciate you guys for having me. Really excited to be on here and love the podcast. But no, what I was saying is it was a big win, not only just for the game, but a series win. It was the first time the Mets since 2024 had a game where they were trailing after 8 innings and they came back. And not only did you score 1 run, it was 3 runs,
Yeah.
And Clay Holmes goes down the first game of the Subway Series. Obviously, whatever the records are of the teams, Subway Series is Subway Series no matter what, every year. Both teams could be awful. Both teams could be amazing. It's always going to be highlighted in the New York media. Every single reporter, everyone that is there and watching and covering every little aspect. And you saw that even over the weekend, the first game, Spencer Jones, comeback right at Clay Holmes. Boom, Mets lose the game. Holmes is out for what is now 3 months. That right there is a big, big turning point. How are the Mets going to respond? They come out the next day and they win.
Yeah.
Boom, big win. They were trailing. They came back. They fought back. They lose that game. They probably lose today. Then they're looking at, think about it. They get swept. They're looking at their 9 games under 500, middle of May. Now they beat the Yankees, a team that one of the best teams in the American League. They beat the crosstown rivals, and they just did something that they haven't done in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And the young studs are coming to play. Carson Benj, AJ Ewing. There is belief in the clubhouse. The morale is there. There's positivity. And they responded after they were kicked in the face with their best pitcher, their ace, going down for the next 3 months, who needs a full spring training ramp up when he comes back. And the Mets responded against a very good Yankee team with 2 big wins to come and win the series. Now, obviously, they head into a 4-game stretch against the Nats. And listen, they're 6 games under 500. There's so much baseball to be played. It's a long season, and they're dealing with so many injuries. I honestly do believe that this series, we're going to look back in 2 months, 3 months, and the end of August and be like, wow, this was the moment. This was the series that changed everything for this Mets team.
All right. Rob clearly has a lot of
way you
opinions.
actually, it can't be. If it was another actually good baseball team, the Yankees aren't a real good baseball team. This is classic fraudulent baseball, which I said last week. I was calling it for weeks. Everybody got caught up in the smoke and mirrors in April and May and them beating up on bad teams. What happens when they face good teams? They lose. Now they actually lost to a bad team in the Mets, which I think I literally said on the podcast last week, I wouldn't be surprised if they found a way to lose the Subway Series, but of course they did. And that stat that you throw out there about that the Mets haven't done that since 2024, I almost just threw up. Of course, it's the Yankees that have to give that up. Good for the Mets. I guess they finally found a way to, come back and win a game. But of course, the Yankees give that up. It's just so disgusting with this team. And Jacob, listen, I don't want to rain on your parade, but this is gonna mean nothing for the Mets come August because they're gonna play better competition, real teams that aren't gonna let them back in these games, real teams that understand how to win a baseball game. And it's just, I don't think it's going to matter. Both teams stink. If you ask me, both teams should have fired their manager. But we're never going to see that from either team probably because at this point, if the Mets haven't fired their manager, why would they now? And the Yankees, Boone, I don't know what he's got going on in New York, but they're never going to fire that guy. So I don't know. To me, it's just this was such a classic Yankees loss. But like you said, it doesn't matter how bad each team is in the Subway Series. Doesn't matter how good they are. It is the Subway Series. You're playing for the pride in New York.
Yeah.
And, of course, the Yankees fall short again. I just don't think it's that big of a deal for the Mets. I think it's going to come right back to reality. I could see them losing their next series, and everybody's like, oh, well, there you go, back to being the Mets.
Yeah, no, sorry, James, didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
No, yeah, what I was going to say is, they can come out tomorrow against the Nats and, lose 6-1, and everyone could be like, oh, okay. My point is, everyone in that clubhouse knows that they haven't had a win like they had today in almost 2 years when they went to the NLCS. And everyone knows that. It's a mental thing. 162-game season. A lot of that's mental and confidence and swagger. And they have that. They're playing with that right now. So, yeah, they might come out and lose tomorrow. But they're without Lindor. They're without Alvarez. They're without Robert Jr. They're without Polanco. And they're still floating. 6 games under 500. A couple weeks ago, 11 games under 500. They're making their way. And listen, it's going to take time. It's not, you can't make up 11 games in a matter of, a week and a half, 2 weeks. It's going to take time. The goal is ultimately to get to 500 around the All-Star break. Get maybe a couple games above 500. Even if you're a game or two below at the deadline, you buy. There's so much baseball left. And yeah, maybe this series won't necessarily be the turning point, but it definitely shows that this team has it in them to make a run at some point, whether that's now or in a couple of weeks, but they are still floating given everything they're dealing with.
Yeah,
I'd hope so with the payroll they got. Listen, the same goes for the Yankees too. Like even when I shit on the Mets, like the same goes for the Yankees. Even if the Yankees had a couple injuries and went through a bad stretch, like they should be able to rebound. Like the amount of money that these guys are getting paid on both the Yankees and Mets, they better find ways to win some games and win some series. There's literally no excuse for it otherwise, in my opinion. I don't see how. Like it's just like there's no excuse. They're not small market teams. They don't have small payrolls. You got to figure it out. Even if one guy goes down, you better find a way to pick it up. I don't know.
That was my thing. My initial thoughts were Jacob said something earlier in the day about I guess the World Series is back on, or maybe not this year, or it could be in the next few years with the Mets. But my whole message was I don't think that this series should be that turning point because the Yankees themselves have showed, and I was on that high, like that train 2 weeks ago. I was like, okay, they're starting to beat teams, and then I saw that stat. There was like 1-9 versus teams over 500. That just completely changed things for me. And then they went and lost a series to the Rangers, and then the Orioles, and now the Mets. This team is not, I guess, good enough to have that, I guess, authority over the Mets so that, they can change their series. And that was my whole thing, or their season. That was my whole thing. I wish I was as optimistic as Jacob was when it comes to the Mets or with any of my teams because, me, I'm a guy that's, if my team shows me the slightest bit of not being about it, that's it. Like, that's going to be it for me. So, but I mean, Jacob, you really think that this roster or this core can get it done within the next, year, 2 or 3? Like, this is what's going to happen?
Or yes, I do. I think now we're seeing some more of that with Ewing, with Benj. Those are guys. Those are going to be cornerstone pieces, hopefully, assuming they pan out for the next, 4 or 5, 6, and so forth. That outfield of Soto, Benj, and Ewing, that is the ideal, outlook and out for the outfield for many years to come.
Yeah.
This year, yes, listen, they're obviously dealing with a ton of injuries, but that's, like any team. And Stearns knew that. He knew what he was getting with Polanco and Robert. Like those guys have history of it. And he even said it, I think, in this recent presser, that, going forward, they need to be better with that. They need to understand that maybe going this route isn't the best approach. But what I was saying is the window of 1 to 2 years, if we're being real, David Stearns doesn't have that much time. The first time he really got antsy and got into it with the media and a little fiery, we've never seen that before in his first 3 years with the Mets.
Yeah.
We saw that last week when he was getting questions about Mendoza and about his job and about what he did and who's to blame for this start. He knows he has one more chance. If it's not this season, which I think if they're competitive, he will do something. Whether that's trading for a guy like Yandy Diaz or maybe going and making a splash for Devers. He will do something, even if it doesn't mean we win now this year, to jumpstart the offseason to get the Mets in the right spot. Because he knows if it's not this year, next year is his last shot.
I mean, I wish the Yankees had a little more of a hot seat like that. But I will agree with that. That's especially having that high payroll.
He's taking a lot of swings already, man. So
he's taking too much. Yeah, he's taking 20.
They got letting Alonso go. I don't know. That's a lot. I got another question for you though. This is kind of more broad scale. How does it feel that Juan Soto still wants to be a Yankee, but he's a Met? How does that feel as a Mets fan?
I don't think he does.
Well, I mean, everyone knows he does. I mean, if you don't want to admit it, that's a different story. But because you're obviously a Mets super fan, so I'm just trying to get that perspective. So, like, how do Mets fans feel that like the guy playing, right field for them every day, low-key still wishes he played in the Bronx?
I knew. What was it, 2 years ago when he was your right fielder, where he was going to be next year. For whatever reason, I told James, your right fielder will be a New York Met. And
you had the scoop on his mom? You had the scoop on his mom?
Hey, I would keep it confidential, but hey, he made the call. I will say, Jake, early in the season, he made the call. He said he's going to be a Met next year. I looked at him like, nah.
I've always thought Soto and Cohen, even from when he was a Nat, I always thought, maybe. And, obviously when he got closer and closer to free agency, it was like, you know what? Obviously Steve Cohen has the most money. He could, throw it out there. That was a big advantage. Listen, if the Mets offered less than the Yankees, chances are, he's probably a Yankee. But on the other hand, my question is, for a guy like Soto, and I proposed this to James the other day, a top 3 player in the baseball, why do you not, if you're the Yankees, do everything you can to keep him?
Because at some point, enough is enough. Yeah. You offered the guy $700 million to play baseball for your team. You're really going to make it a big stink that you don't get your own suite? No other player has ever gotten that. None. Jeter never got one. Okay?
Jeter wasn't Soto.
Yeah, and guess what? And Jeter's got 5 World Series rings. Soto can't say that.
No. But he's got a ring.
Don't get me wrong, Soto practically carried them through the 2024 playoffs. So if there's anyone that was most deserving, but at the same time, it's like the Yankees traditionally just aren't going to do that. So to me, it's like I can't even truly fault Hal for he gave the offer $10 million less than the Mets. The suite was the kicker for Soto and the Mets. So I can't fault the Yankees for not re-signing him. They did as much as they could, in my opinion. I don't. To me, I wouldn't have given up a suite either. Like, it's easy to say after the fact that, oh, you should have just given him the suite. But it's like, then what happens? Then what happens 20 years from now? Or, do you constantly just give, the biggest and best name in baseball a suite every single time you want him to play for your team? I don't know. Then you just kind of go down that whole rabbit hole. But
no, yeah.
I think the Yankees did enough. I just think, I think Soto still should be a Yankee.
Yeah, the push comes to shove, the Yankees don't like to budge. And I feel like that's been their thing for a while, and they were right there with the Mets too. And it really came down to an extra $1 million and a suite. And he's a family man.
Right.
He took it. I don't know.
I think that I agree with what you said. The precedent, it sets going forward, but you're not gonna get the chance to have a player like Soto that wants to come to your team. It's the Yankees, New York, whatever, New York market. Sure, there will be another free agent in X amount of years that, will want to play for the Yankees, the Mets, etc. You saw what Soto and Judge did. World Series appearance, took it to the Dodgers, if you want to call it that. I mean, who knows what, the next couple of years would have had,
We got a better 22 in town now.
We damn sure do. We got the best 22.
We got a better 22 in town now. Sure do. Ben Rice, baby.
Rob's
He's
twin.
Awesome. He is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
He is, man. Sir. Jacob, appreciate you for calling in, man. Great segment.
Yeah, man. Thank you for hopping on.
Awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys.
We had to get more of a Mets lens in on this show because we, two Yankee fans, and Mets, one of the biggest, teams in the nation. So we appreciate you getting on. We'll definitely call you in more. We'll see what happens later on in the season with the Mets. We will revisit your talking points, but appreciate you so much, man.
No, appreciate you guys. Yeah, no, we'd love to come back on again. And we'll see how these takes air in a couple months. But I appreciate you guys. And I had a blast.
Thank you.
All right, man. Catch you.
See you guys.
All right. Well, that was our new MLB, I guess you could say, call-in segment. for the Hillside Club in general. We are going to move it on, though. All right, now it is time for our favorite segment. It is time for our About It and Not About It
of the week. I'll get things started off here. I'm going to start off with my Not About It of the week. Bryson DeChambeau, he has missed the cut once again in this year's majors. He's now 0 for 2 on the year. I know some people will say, oh, it's only 2 majors, but he has not looked good. Ever since that U.S. Open win at Pinehurst, I feel like we have not seen the same golfer. I feel like Bryson kind of had that resurgence, and he kind of capped it off with that win at the U.S. Open, and it was like kind of everybody was buying in on Bryson again. But ever since that moment, it just has felt like his stock has just dropped off a damn cliff. And this year specifically, he hasn't played well in the majors. He's been up there as favorites in these majors, to go out there and get a win. But it's like he just cannot find his game right now. And it's a tough spot for him to be because he's so, I don't want to come off in an arrogant way, but he's so easily criticized. He's such a guy that can be criticized so easily, if that makes sense, in the sense that he does all these weird things, and he has, same length shaft for these clubs, and this is 3D printed, and the driver's different, and the putting form, and it's all these different things that it's when stuff's not going well for him, it's so easy to say, well, maybe you should golf like a normal person. And I don't know if I fully believe that, because he has gone to the top of the sport and he's won a U.S. Open, doing things his style. But when you see him and his reactions to certain things, it's like you duff the chip or you hit a bad shot out of the sand. You go to look at your club. You're looking at your caddy. What are you looking at? You're the one that wants the clubs this way. You're the one that hit the shot. There's nobody to blame but yourself. He hasn't looked good. Is it too much YouTube, too much TikTok, this, that, and the other, live, golf, what's going on? All in all, just a disaster for Bryson DeChambeau.
Yeah, man. And honestly, missing both major cuts, brutal for someone of that much hype, right? It feels like he's a little bit lost right now. But that's what golf does. It will humble everyone eventually at some point, and the majors exposed weaknesses. That's what they do. We talked about it, right? PGA heard the noise. They made sure these pin placements, the greens, they made sure that it was a tough outing. And power means nothing in golf if your short game disappears.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, he is an easy guy to criticize. You look at all these things. I swear every week it's a new tweet about Bryson or what he's got going on, and he's always on YouTube, and it is an easy guy to criticize because he gives us so much access into his game and what he does in golf. But yeah, that's a valid not about it in my opinion. I don't really have an about it because we got on. We talked about Drake. That is the about it. That is the about it. The guy dropped 3 albums. But I'm gonna get into my not about it, which kind of still, is about Drake. My not about it of the week is sheep and how people are sheep, right? I'm looking online and I see people talking about this album, these 3 albums, maybe 15, 20 minutes after they released it. They're bad. This and that. And what are we talking about? And then, 2 days later, I open my phone and now people are talking about, oh, it's good off the second listen, or it's good off the third listen, or this or that. I said it earlier in the episode. I said the ICEMAN album was made for people who, can only like stuff when they're told to, right? Basically sheep. Herd together, and you can only like music when, everyone likes music and the mainstream likes music. But you listen to some of these songs, obviously your first listen, you're not going to love it. But, 2 days before, I'm hearing friends of mine saying, oh, the music, not good, terrible, this, that. 2-3 days later, come back. Oh, I liked it over this second listen or this third listen. It's like, oh, okay, you saw a TikTok. You saw a TikTok that said, or you saw a video, or you maybe heard it out, and now, because you've been influenced, you like you like the song more. That's my not about it, is people being sheep. I wish people had more of their own opinions online, and I feel like sometimes people flock together and, whatever's trending. Let's hate on Drake. Let's hate on Kendrick. Let's hate on this. Whatever it is, it's like it's kind of it's aggravating, but at the same time, I get tired of it. Like I'm fatigued. I'm fatigued beyond like repair. Like I couldn't believe it. I saw, what was the song? I think it's New Bestie, Drake, or one of those house songs that he dropped. Fire. And I saw a TikTok guy said, can't wait, to find friends with a mature ear that, could listen to this song. And it's like, I don't even think it's going to be a mature ear. I think it's going to give it 2 weeks when everyone's dancing to it and it's nice out and 70 degrees and you're outside at a bar and you're having a good time and boom, they play one of those songs and then you love it. It's like, okay. Well, why can't we think for ourselves? I don't know. Little rant for me. I just had to get off my chest because when albums drop from big artists, everyone comes out the woodwork and everyone has something to say.
No, it's valid. It's a valid take. And I think, honestly, when I think about something like that, it's almost like growing up, you hear your parents say a lot, be a leader, not a follower. And it's one of like the hardest things for really anybody. I'm not saying that I've never jumped on like a social bandwagon about, a certain topic or whatnot. Like obviously we all fall susceptible to it, but it's like you hear that so much at a young age, be a leader, not a follower. And it's like, it really is truly one of the hardest things for people to do. Like when there's social pressure and peer pressure, like you just kind of cave in. But when it's something as simple as music, it's like, come on, we got to be better than this. Like you said, like, I mean, people hating right away. Listen, that's why he's the GOAT. He's got a bar about it. He literally said, he's battling the fact that, people are already hating the album before it even drops. It's like, what are we doing here? Like, give it a real chance. Like, if you can listen to music that, like, you can listen to the GOAT preach. So that's all I really got to say about that. And yeah, like Martin said, Drake is just the about of the week, so just kind of a joint effort there.
See Rob's OVO shirt, man. That's what's going on, man. October's very own. Before we wrap it up, Conor McGregor is returning.
Oh yes, baby! UFC. I can't wait.
What is going on? McGregor.
Oh my gosh, dude! I'm actually stoked. For those who don't know, if you're living under a rock, Conor McGregor is set to fight Max Holloway, UFC 329 after his 5-year layoff. But I just think this is such a cool and unique opportunity for the younger audience who didn't get to see Conor McGregor at his peak. Just kind of get like just a little bit of, just to get to see a little bit of him. Obviously, we're not expecting, the fighter he was back in the day. We know that won't happen. He comes in as a massive underdog. It would be absolutely insane if he wins this fight. But like, if you were a little bit younger, maybe you weren't into UFC, maybe you didn't know anything about UFC. This is like a really cool opportunity to see really one of the guys that helped push the UFC as far as it has become. Like, he was that dude. And I wasn't really into UFC as much as I am now when he was at his peak. So like, I'm going to really like try to like tap into all his press conferences, like every little thing that he does leading up to this fight, because I think he knows better than anyone how to sell a fight. And I think he's going to pull out all the stops, all the antics. I think it's going to be really cool. And I'm just kind of stoked to see that fight.
Dude, when I saw that notification pop up on my phone, I was like, nah, this is fake. He hasn't fought in how many years? I'm at work. No way. But like you said, he's 5 years removed from UFC, and he is still the biggest story. I think for most of us our age, obviously UFC was nothing like it is now 10, 15, 20 years ago. But like, you think of Conor McGregor, you think of UFC. They go hand in hand. He's one of those names. He's one of those household names in terms of UFC. And like you said, nobody sells like McGregor. I mean, he fought Floyd Mayweather, for God's sake. And that was one of the biggest fights, I feel like, of the past decade. So to see him come back, and then it's also Max Holloway, like their second fight, like that's a whole other thing. That's a elite, I guess, striking from both of them, right? I can't wait. I can't wait. And I like UFC. I know like people have been a little bit I guess you could say fights, sometimes they're not as fun because of the jiu-jitsu, and guys are rolling more, and it's a little more wrestling than it was, when we were growing up and you were watching. But this is one of those fights that it should be way more striking, and what people should, would like to see when they think of UFC. So I can't wait. Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, that's going to wrap it up for us, guys. New setup for us, 2 different locations. We get used to it, though. It's nothing, life goes on.
This won't be my permanent background. I'm in a hotel right now doing some traveling, and then moving for work eventually. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Next week episode should be in person, so we'll be back to the regular in studio look next week. But listen, man, we're dedicated here. If you guys saw the setup I have right now for this camera, and I got like four books stacked up and cardboard and everything in between, to pump these episodes out for you guys. We love doing this for you, for ourselves, for everybody who's subscribed. Man. So we're gonna keep it going no matter what. So keep staying tuned in, subscribe, like, interact with us. Tell us what you guys want to see. If there's certain topics, literally anything, let us know in the comments. We check everything. So just thank you guys for tuning in. We always appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys so much. From the Hillside Club, I am James Martin III.
I'm Rob Cardini.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.